Welcome back, everybody, to Catching You. I am your co-host, Rusty Ham. My other co-host, Lacey, is tied up for now. She had a rough weekend. We're going to talk about that in a second. Not rough. She did okay. She's real hard on herself, so she would probably say that she had a rough weekend, but I wouldn't. But so we gave her the night off. It's her birthday tomorrow, February 11th, so we're not going to film on her birthday. She's going to be gone. So I'm going to fly solo today and talk about what happened. Nothing really happened. But she's so her career, she is always, she's done well, right? We've talked, if you go through all of our episodes, 10U, she did great. Tons of strikeouts, 12U, tons of strikeouts, third place at PGF, did great. Got moved up to Mark Campbell's team. She did great until she got her injury, right? After the injury, she, mental health started taking over. She wasn't as confident in herself after her injury in 14U. But she's still pretty good. I mean, she's good enough to go to Division I softball, and she's very hard on herself. She's a perfectionist, so if things aren't perfect, she gets upset with herself. So I'm constantly, as a father, and this is kind of what I wanted to sort of talk about and speak to those fathers out there on how to handle when your child is not doing well, because they're going to have their ups and downs, right? So this weekend they played in, I think, UC Davis and Sacramento State, and in the two games that she started, she had a rough first inning, but then she did well after that. Second, third, fourth. I think a couple of games she did 4 innings or 5 innings. So, but she's struggling to get out of the first inning. And then she's really hard on herself. And so she's constantly asking, what do I need to change? What do I need to do? And so as a father, it's hard because you want to fix it, right? You want to help her out. You want to fix it, but you also she needs to figure it out on her own as well. So, obviously she got a new pitching coach, which is helpful. The new pitching coach is great. I'm sure they're going to sit down and go over some of the things that she needs to do. It wasn't filmed, so I couldn't really tell her, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. I can just tell by when it's kind of like old Game Changer. It's just, you can just see the live stats. And just based on her getting behind on counts, having a couple of walks, she had a hit by pitch. This is first inning. She, walked a couple in. She got taken out, and then she got put back in. When she got put back in, she did great, right? Second game that she started, kind of a rough first inning, and this is all with 2 outs. And so the frustration, I can see her being frustrated because, and those of you that are bucket dads, you get nervous when there's 2 outs. You just say, hey, just close it out. And then a walk happens. They steal a base. All of a sudden there's a single, and then all of a sudden, they score. So she's getting frustrated. But after that first inning, she settled down. She pitched 4 innings, had 4 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody after that. So as a father, again, I'm talking to the fathers out there. What do you do help your daughter who could possibly be struggling mentally, physically, when they get frustrated? What are some of the techniques that you did? My technique, what I did, was I'm trying to have her point out. So, if you are watching YouTube, there's a book called The Gap and the Gain, and I've talked about the gap and the gain in other episodes. But the Gap and the Gain book basically describes how you view things. So, if you have a certain goal, let's say she has, I want to pitch 7 innings and have 10 strikeouts and get the win. So that's a goal, right? And if she doesn't achieve that goal, how do you react? Do you react that you didn't reach your goal, or and that would be the gap, right? You're looking at a goal, and then the gap would be, you not reaching that goal and you focusing on not reaching that goal versus the gain, which is, okay, I didn't get my 7 innings or 10 strikeouts, but I did do this, this, and this, and I did those well. Yes, I had a couple of walks. I had a hit by pitcher. I may have given up a double, a 2-run double, but I gained by doing this, this, and this, right? So that is my strategy this year. I want her to focus on the gain. It is her senior year, so I don't want her stressing out and being so hard on herself that it just, it just ruins her senior year. So I'm constantly trying to get her to focus on the gains. So, what innings, the innings that you did do well, what worked, what didn't, because she did have a few strikeouts. So it's like, oh, let's focus on the strikeouts. What did you do to get those strikeouts? And then you can always revert back, because you don't want to like forget about the bad stuff, but you don't want to harp on it, right? You don't want to sit there and focus on the negatives, right? Okay, I threw I threw 4 straight balls to this one girl. What were those pitches like? Were you getting squeezed? Maybe you were getting squeezed. Maybe those pitches were just spot on and you just weren't getting them. So again, I'm focusing on the positives, because again, it is her senior, and it is a tough, it's a tough conference. San Diego State, legit. They took Oklahoma this last weekend to extra innings. You got Boise State, who's really good. You got Utah State, who beat Baylor, and Baylor was ranked in the top 15. And Nevada's really good. UNLV is really good. So this is going to be a tough conference. The preseason for her is key, because she wants to feel good going into conference. If she's not feeling all that confident mental health wise going into conference, it's going to be a long season. So my job as a father is to help her get through those mental struggles that she's having. It is her birthday tomorrow. So hopefully she feels good about that. She's going to be 22 years old. She has a bright future ahead of her. This doesn't define her. She said that multiple times. In fact, she probably said that in the last episode that we replayed. The softball doesn't define you. So those of you that are listening, those fathers that are super hard on their daughters, and give them grace. Yes, be hard on them. Because they're going to need discipline. They're going to need somebody to hold them accountable. But you also need to give them grace, because this is not all it's not everything to them. Now, it might be everything, because in fact, I spoke to somebody last night at the Super Bowl party. His daughter is playing 10U rec ball, 8U All-Stars, and that's exactly what Lacey did. She played 10U rec ball, and then she was old enough to play 8U All-Stars. And so I said, Dad, just, and he's like, well, I want to move rec balls, because the other rec ball league that's in the area is more competitive. And I said, no, just let her enjoy herself. She's 8 years old. Stay in the rec ball league as she is now. If she's dominating, let her dominate. Let her gain those confidence. Let her fall in love with the game, and then make the decision. I would even say first year 12s, think about maybe going to travel ball, but I would just stick with rec ball for, and Lacey didn't do that. We went to travel ball right away after 8U All-Stars. We went to first year 10s travel ball. Do we regret it? No, but it's not for everybody. So you got to be realistic with your daughter and know that as soon as you put them in travel ball, there's no going back. Typically, once you get into travel ball, you don't revert back to rec ball. I've seen some people do it, and then just think about it. Lacey got into rec ball when she was 9 years old. She got out of travel ball. She got into travel ball when she was 9 years old. Her last game, 10 years of travel ball. And again, there's expenses with travel ball. It ranged from $10,000 to $15,000 a year. So basically, we paid for her college as she was in travel ball. And luckily, she was able to get a pretty good scholarship going to the D1, but that's not guaranteed. So there's a lot of things to consider when you move your daughter into travel ball. Number one, is she good enough? Number two, is this something that she wants to do, or is it what you want to do? Again, I've seen it all. I've coached it. I've been around the fields for a long time, and many fathers live vicariously through their daughters. Maybe they were really good high school players. Maybe they played a couple years in college, and then they had to stop for whatever reason. Now they live vicariously through their kid, and it's super important to them that their kid does well. And it was to me. When Lacey was playing with the Batbusters, I wanted her to do so well because she was part of the Batbusters that I was constantly on her about doing the right things and making sure she was practicing. And there was a few times where I was too hard on her, and she needed space. She needed time away from the game, and I didn't give her that time. I said, you need to be in the backyard, throwing into the net rather than going to your friend's house. So give your kids some grace and point out the things that they're doing well. Yes, again, I'm not kumbaya. I'm not saying everything's great, honey. I was on her when she had that breakdown in 12U. I started complimenting her, and then I'd critique her. I would ask her opinion, and then I'd compliment her again. So we call it the sandwich. We call it a sandwich compliment. So you compliment, critique, compliment. So, and it seems to be working, right? Hey, great bullpen, good job. And then, hey, your curveball seemed like, it wasn't like you were snapping it, or you weren't staying sideways, or, your changeup, you're leaving, too high, and maybe you need to release a little bit later, blah, blah, blah. And what did you think? She would tell me, and then I'd say, okay. Yeah, but other than that, your rise ball and your drop ball was great. So compliment, critique, compliment. So if that's one advice I would give you for your daughter, is to sandwich the compliments in between a critique, and it should not be just a critique. And then always ask their opinion. What did they think? All right. This is a short solo. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Wish Lacey a happy birthday if you can. Don't forget to rate us, review us, and give us a ranking. 5 stars, please, if you can. And then check us out on YouTube as well. Like I said, all the links are in the show notes. So check us out on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. And we'll catch you guys on the other side. Lace, if you're listening, I love you. And take care, everybody.